Hey, Penguin. That is a magnificent amount of questions there. Uh, I don't
Oh
think we're
yeah.
going to be sure. Yeah, okay. Bear with us. We do have some set pieces to get through, Penguin, but yeah, we'll try and address those questions for you. And take away the ones we can't answer, of course.
Okay, so we're 1 minute past 5 p.m. UTC, so I think we can get started. Hello again, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us for the monthly edition of Developer Office Hours. As usual, it's the best place to ask us questions in person and share the feedback on pretty much anything developer related, on executing smart contracts on our EVM domain Nova, or pretty much anything. And today I'm joined by Jim. Hey Jim, how's it going?
Yeah, very well. Thanks, Emil. It's great to be here on another Developer Office Hours, of course. Special edition today, Stake Wars special edition. Excited to do a bit of a demo today. Thanks,
Ooh,
Emil.
yeah, the exciting demo is coming towards the end of the developers office hours. But first, I'd like to start with saying another round of thank yous to all contributions that we had during the month of October. And I just want to share some stats from the last month with you. So in the last month, we've seen 7 contributors who created 12 PRs to our projects. And the projects, it includes our main documentation, Subnomicon, and crowding contributions for the localization, so translations. We've seen some great activity in the developer channel, and now we have around 22 to 25 developers in a Discord developer channel. We've seen more than 30 people actively utilizing Faucet, who made more than 150 requests, and that's only on the Discord, and we're not even counting the number of requests through the website. So we're really happy to see we're getting some traction. We're really happy to see so many contributions coming from you. So thank you very much, guys, and keep them coming. And as usual, our documentation improvement contest is an ongoing initiative. So feel free to go in the forum, read the post, read the terms and conditions, and make our documentation better. So before we switch to the Stake Wars, please feel free to hop on the stage and share your feedback on our EVM domain, or if you have any concerns about Nova. Now is a really good time, because pretty much after that we switch to the Stake Wars.
Yeah. So before we talk about Stake Wars, do we have any developer-specific questions? I haven't had a chance to skim Penguins. Are there any dev questions in there, Penguin? We will try and get to all your questions, but this is a space for developers, of course. So I guess, did we get a thumbs up in the chat if anyone's deployed a contract? Let's see. Or maybe another reaction if you're planning to deploy a contract on Nova. Okay.
I know you, Jim and Jeremy, definitely deploy something on Nova. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're more than happy for people to drop their questions in the chat as we go along, or indeed come up on stage and ask a question. As you know, we can't guarantee that we'll know the answer, but we can certainly take it away if we don't.
All right. In this case, I think we can switch to discussing the Stake Wars. And Jim, would you be able to provide us with the updates, what's coming and what's happening around Stake Wars?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Emil. So, as I'm sure many in the audience already know, we are 1 week out from phase 2 of Stake Wars. Phase 2, of course, is where we invite operators onto the network. At the moment, we've got, I've seen this question asked today actually in the chat, is why can't I register an operator? The reason you can't register an operator at the moment is because we have an allow list in place. And the reason for that allow list is to stop any Stake Wars participants from registering before everyone else, giving them an unfair advantage, of course. The allow list has got a few team wallets, so we are testing operating and staking currently on Nova. So yeah, it's all going to happen next week on a community call. So we hope that you're going to join us for phase 2 base building, kicking off next Wednesday on the 22nd of November. That does lead me into a kind of a tweak we had to make to the schedule. So originally we had hoped to be starting phase 2 today, but we've been monitoring the state of the network. We've always been transparent about the fact that the state of the network is a driver for our schedule with Stake Wars. And we can see that there are a number of problems, or not so much problems, just suboptimal situations, let's say. So obviously we've got farmers there dealing with the increased complexity of plotting as we've increased the K parameter on the plotting process. We've also got replotting. I know that's a hot topic at the moment. Obviously, we're bootstrapping a new network, and this hasn't affected us as much in previous networks because, of course, plotting wasn't so difficult. As the block history, as the history, the data that we're actually storing increases, we have to expire sectors of already plotted data to make sure that new data coming into the network is distributed efficiently and equally across the network, so that there's no situation where new data is stored less frequently as old data. So yeah, we've got replotting is another challenge. We weren't seeing as many people shifting over from 3F to 3G as we'd have liked to see. Now, I did check earlier, and I think we've gone from about 50-50 last time we spoke about this. So I believe, I'm just going to get the latest figures from telemetry. Yeah, okay, so we're much closer to 80% over to Gemini 3G, or maybe 75. Doesn't quite line up nicely, but we've got 7,500 on 3G and 2,137 on 3F. So certainly that extra time has been beneficial as we've allowed people more time to migrate over onto 3G. And we still have a problem with Pulsar. As previously mentioned, the issue is actually an issue that's present in both the advanced CLI and Pulsar, but for some reason it's amplified in Pulsar, which means that it's more difficult. I believe it's an issue with the DSN. So we are working on that. I've seen some activity in the repo on GitHub for Pulsar today, in fact. So hopefully we're going to have some good news for you on that soon. But because of those challenges, we extended we extended phase 1 and pushed things back by a week to provide more time for farmers to move over to 3G, to provide more time for any 3F Pulsar farmers to potentially pick up the advanced CLI and get set up on 3G, and of course more time to earn stake in these difficult conditions. And finally, it's allowed us to put a bit of polish on some of the tooling that we've been building out for our prospective operators, which is actually something interesting that we're going to be talking about shortly. So next week, phase 2, what happens exactly? The allow list gets removed. So it's not that a case of we're going to add add certain explicit people to the allow list. We're going to remove the allow list. So that makes joining it permissionless. which is going to be when basically we expect to see as many operators as possible getting set up, registering as operators, and helping us out with our decoupled execution. There are a few important points that I just wanted to quickly go over about. These are actually in the Stake Wars introduction post. So MinStake, first of all, I just want to talk about MinStake for a moment. The MinStake that we're going to set on for Stake Wars on Nova is going to be orders of magnitude smaller than what it will be on mainnet. Obviously, we're in a test net, so we're keen to see as much participation as possible, but we don't want to set expectations that MinStake is going to be very low on mainnet. And of course, the reason being is that we need to disincentivize malicious actors from saying that they're processing transactions when really they're not. So it's a way that we can ensure crypto economic security in our decoupled execution framework. Something very important is that our domains are not entirely finished yet. We're transparent about this fact, and you can follow the challenges we have left and are actively working on it in the Subspace GitHub. This does mean that there are some known potential attack vectors with the current implementation, and I want to reinforce today that if anyone is found exploiting them, they will be summarily disqualified from the initiative, which will mean that their rewards, their share of the of their Stake Wars rewards, will actually just be split up between everyone who's left. So something to think about. And of course, if anyone does find something that we're not aware of, we'd be extremely grateful if this could be communicated to the team. There could even be a token of our appreciation on the table for reporting a critical problem we were not already aware of. And just to add to that, we do know that there could be a problem if a very large wallet were to register for Stake Wars, to register as an operator, but then not actually connect their operator up. This is something that specifically, if we see happening, we will seriously consider some punitive measures against that operator and potentially even have an impact on their incentivized testnet rewards. So even outside of Stake Wars, we definitely want to discourage that behavior. And I'm happy to field any questions about exactly what that would look like, but there will be some documentation coming out shortly about exactly that situation and how it could come about. So that only really leaves me one more bit of news, which is to announce MinStake. I know it's been something that's been asked about. I'm not sure if it's put in Penguin's list of questions. I'll have to check in a minute. But we have decided, after checking the state of the network and analyzing where people's wallets are and the fact that people are getting more and more sectors plotted, MinStake will be set at 100 TSSC. So you need to have, if you want to participate in Stake Wars, by next Wednesday, you will need to have 100 TSSC available in a wallet that you will use to register your operator with. Now, transfers are enabled on 3G. So if you are struggling to farm, maybe there's an opportunity to get some friends to help. Maybe you can pull together to try and get that MinStake. But happy to hear any feedback from the community on that. There will be a forum post which will go out immediately after this call, detailing this exact announcement. Okay, so do we have any actual dev questions, Emil, in the chat?
Yeah, thanks for all the updates about the Stake Wars, Jim. I don't think we have any dev-related questions, but I was really happy to see the number of thumbs up going up while you were describing all of the things happening around Stake Wars. So we are now wrapped up to 7, so it means that pretty much a quarter of the participants of today's developers office hours did really deploy something on Nova, which is really good. Yeah, I'm really happy about it.
Okay, that is wonderful to hear. Okay, so we want to do a bit of a live demo. We do have a dependency on some things happening in the background while we're doing it as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to share my screen, and I'm going to do something incredibly risky. I'm going to show you what it looks like to be running an operator, what it looks like to register an operator, and if everyone crosses their fingers, we may even see a bundle produced. It's something that I managed to do well earlier in the week. I had some troubles today, so we will literally be on a voyage of discovery together to know whether this is actually going to work. So without further ado, let me see if I can share my screen. That's going to be the first hurdle, of course.
My fingers are crossed for you, Jim.
Thank you, Emil. Think happy thoughts. Okay. And okay. So hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Is that working for you, Emil? Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Fingers crossed indeed, Jeremy. Okay, so what's going on here? So I've got this is a node running here. This is my this is the same software that you're running in validator mode to connect your farmer to. But I'm actually running it as an operator. So you can see there's some interesting different messages. We can see that there's not just consensus, which is what you'll tend to see apart from our infamous bad bundle messages, of course. But you can see that I'm getting a lot more domain messages because, of course, I'm also I'm running as an operator, so I'm listening to everything that's going on. Domain ID 1, which is Nova, which is where Stake Wars is going to take place. And we can see that there's some information about extrinsics. So what's going on is, at the moment, I'm running an operator, but I'm not registered as an operator. This is something that Emil's going to talk on shortly, but it's very important that you approach this in the right order. So we have a staking interface, everyone. It's hopefully going to get a snappier URL, but we do actually have the ability to become an operator and perform operator activities without having to use Polka.js. Now, there's nothing wrong with Polka.js, but it's not quite as friendly as what Mark has put together here for us. So I'm going to try and register as an operator right now. So let me just get this. And so let me just run you through the parameters here. So we've got two Novas, okay, of course. Nova with ID 1 is the one that we're going to run Stake Wars on. I expect this will be fixed by the time everyone else is using it, but because there's basically we require 18 zeros because that's the precision to which, same as like a Satoshi on Bitcoin, the smallest division of a TSSC is to the 10 to the 18. So basically, yeah, you could have just one in here, but it would be such a tiny amount that it would barely register. So when you want 2 TSSC, the important thing to remember here is that you've got 2 followed by 18 zeros. So I'm going to set, so if you want to nominate to my operator, it's going to be a minimum of 2 TSSC. I'm going to stake 4 TSSC, and I'm going to set nomination tax at 11%. So nomination tax is something that nominators should be looking at the operators they're considering nominating to, because it's a portion of the transaction fees that are held back by the operator. What that means is that the lower the nomination tax, the more you as an operator, as a nominator, will receive from the transaction fees that operator earns. A higher value would be bad for nominators, and a low value would be better for nominators. and obviously it's a lever or a dial that an operator can twist to try and attract nominated delegation. Now, signing key, there's a wonderful video that Emil's put together in the official docs on how to get your signing key. Essentially, you generate a key pair, and when my node here running in the background is it's aware of this key. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to connect on the consensus chain by staking to that signing key my operator on the who I am when executing on the domain chain. So without further ado, let's see if this is going to work. Okay, so I'm being asked to make sure that I'm happy to approve the transaction, which I am, of course. Okay, and immediately I'm taken over to a different screen. So what's just happened is I've submitted the transaction to register my operator. We actually have to wait for a few minutes now while two things happen. One, we need to wait for the transaction to finish, which actually happens very quickly. And then we need to have we need to wait for an epoch to pass. What's an epoch, you may ask? So an epoch is almost like a tick for our domains. Certainly about how to how the transaction fees are. And so on an epoch transition is where new operators come into the pool, onto the domain, deregistered operators disappear from domain, rewards are distributed, rewards can be withdrawn, and stake can be added, which is handy because that's exactly the kind of thing that we can do down here. We can increase our stake, so we can pick which operator. Shortly, you'll see my 0xC4 key appear in the operator list, and you can also take some of your stake away if you want. So you select which operator you've nominated to and how much. I've got a feeling that these may not require all the zeros. We're still polishing this. The final feature on this UI, of course, is that you can deregister. So I don't want to participate in Stake Wars anymore, or I don't want to participate in Operation anymore. I can select my operator here, and I could submit the deregister transaction. So while we wait for the epoch transition, I'm just going to check on Subscan and make sure my transaction hasn't failed. Okay, excellent. That's a relief. So what's happened here is you can see that I've submitted this transaction. I'm trying to register on domain.
Sorry to interrupt, Jim. Sorry, Jim,
Yeah.
we're still seeing the staken interface screen. We don't see the Subscan.
Okay.
But we're seeing your browser window with 3 tabs with staken interface.
Okay. Can you see things scrolling past? Is it entirely frozen? Can you see my operator?
No, for me, you're on a staken interface. Oh, now we can see it. Yeah, now we can see the logs for the operator.
Okay. Did you? Okay. So did you see? Can you see Subscan now?
Yes, now we can see it. Maybe it was frozen for a second.
Sorry, guys. I thought the gremlins were going to be in our software, but it's in Discord. Okay, well that's fine. Okay, so the parameters that I've put into that transaction is I'm registering on domain ID 1, which is Nova. I've put in 4 TSSC, suffix with the 18 zeros. I've specified that if you want to nominate to me, you need to stake at least 2 TSSC. I specified a nomination tax of 11%, and I have specified that this is the signing key attached to my operator. So we may be able to let me know if my screen does that thing again. Okay, so actually I'm registered now. So just to give you. I already know that because I'm OXC4A4. I'm operator ID 12, and I can see that I'm already registered now. I think I may need to wait though for an epoch to pass. So this is where it's going to be handy if I can hand over to Emil. I feel like I've been talking for ages now. But yeah, so we're waiting for this epoch transition, which is when all the kind of the accounting happens. On I think it's every 256 blocks. Yeah, all of the activity about operating and nominating occurs. So we just need to wait for that to pass. Fingers crossed it's only a few minutes. But Emil, I think you've got some stuff that you wanted to talk about. And
Yes,
hopefully
absolutely.
we can come back to me, and I will be able to show you some transactions being processed.
Yeah, definitely. Really looking forward to it. Yeah, as Jim mentioned, our current documentation has some videos on registering an operator, so you can go and watch it. And the staking interface, which Jim just showed, is also working alongside the Polkadot.js interface. So you feel free to use either of those interfaces. And I'm confident that by the next Wednesday, our documentation will be supporting both Polkadot.js and our own staking interface. So you won't have to. You will have to decide between which one to use, but you will have full guidance on using both interfaces. But there is really a few really important notes that we need to mention. And the most important one is that it is really, really important to sync from the Genesis block when you are running an operator before registering an operator. And let me explain why is that and what does it mean. Because when you're running an operator, you need to sync to both consensus and domain chains. And basically, your node needs to know all the information that happened on both of these chains. So if you were running a validator and you try to switch to being an operator, your node would fail, and you will have to sync from the Genesis, from the start, in order to get up to speed with both chains and actually run an operator. But if you're registered before you're synced, that means that there is a queue of operators. And we expect that each operator in the queue, when the time comes to them, they do execute a transaction and submit an epoch. But if your node is still syncing, essentially, you're being offline while your node is syncing. That means that even though we expect you to be in a queue and submit it like a bundle when you are expected to submit it and be online, it doesn't really happen. That means that the block production on the domain is getting slower the more operators are being offline. So that's why it's really, really important to first fully sync and only then register an operator. And I'm pretty sure that, of course, like as we remove the whitelist, the more the operators there are on domain, the less impact it would actually have on the block production. So having like one or two or like a few operators who are offline will not affect it the way it affects it right now, but it's still there is still like a negative effect it would have. Hopefully my explanation makes sense. I tried my best, but if not, please feel free to ask any clarifying questions. We'll be happy to clarify more. As for some other notes that we have prepared, it's really important to understand that TSSC that you are earning from staking is not the same TSSC that you're earning from farming. That's two different TSSC because the ones that you are farming lives on a substrate wallet, and the one that you are earning from staking lives on the EVM wallet. So there is no direct transition between them. But what we'll be actually assessing is the rewards that you are getting from signing the transaction on our EVM domain Nova. And we'll be distributing rewards proportionally to the number of the epoch of the transactions that you created. Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention about TSSC and the difference between TSSC on the substrate wallets and on our domain. Hopefully it does make sense too. And it's another important note is that next week we're only removing whitelisting from an operator, so everyone who has minimum stake has an opportunity to run an operator, but the nomination will not be enabled just yet, but it will be enabled in the next phases of Stake Wars. So if you have less than 100 TSSC and you cannot run an operator, or even if you have more than 100 TSSC, but your machine, your PC doesn't really support running an operator, it's okay. You can wait till the nomination is enabled, and you will be able to participate in the next phase of Stake Wars as a nominator. Yeah, and probably one last important note before we switch over to Jim, and hopefully we'll see some bundled production messages. It's totally possible to run a validator or like a farmer and operator nodes at the same time. And we've included that in the documentation, but the way it works is that you have to specify flags for the advanced CLI for both validator and operator. And if your computer is powerful enough, you will be able to run both at the same time and get farmer rewards and the rewards from on the domain. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Emil. So I'm just going to admit that I'm not yet producing bundles. We can give it a couple more minutes while we take some questions. Of course, a live demo is always nerve-wracking. But I just wanted to touch on a couple of things that you talked about there. So it is very important to understand that that consensus TSSC is not the same as Nova TSSC. So anyone who's thinking that maybe there's a way to cheat the incentivized testnet, or maybe pull some coins from the faucet and claim that they're transaction fees that you've earned. It's not going to work. We have thought about these things. So first of all, yeah, they're different coins, okay, and you have to remember that the incentivized testnet, we are not actually checking. Oh, just produced a bundle. We're not actually checking what's in your wallet. We're checking the block and vote rewards that have been farmed while you've been connected to a wallet. So you can give away all of your TSSC if you want, all of your consensus TSSC. It will make no difference because we track the fact that you farmed those block and vote rewards. So just something to bear in mind there. And then talking about the same thing, could I tap the faucet and take my 0.2 TSSC and claim that I earned that while nominating or even indeed operating? Again, we're not measuring the balance in your wallet. We're measuring the transaction fees and the distribution of those transaction fees. So taking wallets from the taking tokens from the faucet is not the same as earning transaction fees. Hopefully that makes sense. And the second thing I just wanted to talk about is nomination not available during phase 2. That's coming in phase 3, of course, which we have tentatively penciled in for 2 weeks after phase 2. Okay, so something exciting is happening now on my screen. So let me see if I can share this with you. Let's see, is this going to work? Okay. So we're back watching my operator node here, and you can see that there's some new messages, certainly things that I hadn't seen before. So I've claimed a bundle and I've produced a bundle. What this means is that the stake I've put in, the 40 SSC that I've staked, means that I stand a certain chance based on the rest of the stake across the domain that I can be selected to produce a bundle. And that's exactly what's going on here. So you're going to see some lovely new icons that you've probably never seen before. So claimed bundle and producing bundle is what you want to see. So on your farmer, you're always looking for a successfully signed reward hash. Here you're looking for bundle production is the name of the game. This shows me that I am up, running, and exciting things are happening. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. But if it doesn't, please do pipe up in the chat. Now, because we've seen it working, I'm just going to quickly explain. So what will happen, of course, is that here I can increase my chance of, let me see if I refresh this screen, will I be picked up? Okay, and there I am. So I am 0xC4, so I can put more stake against my, I can increase my stake to increase my chance of bundle production. I can take my stake out if I want to. So I would select
sorry, Jim. I think screen is frozen for us again. Let me wait for a couple of seconds till it comes back.
Oh, sorry, everyone.
Yeah, I think it might still be frozen.
Is it totally frozen? Oh, okay. Okay. If you can imagine that you're looking at a screen which has add more funds and initiate a withdrawal with a couple of drop downs, and the drop downs hold the operators currently on the domain. So I can find my operator in those lists, and then I can provide the amount of TSSC that I either want to remove from my stake or add to my stake. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the final function that's available on the staking interface at the moment is you can deregister. So what that will do is that will say, I no longer want to be an operator on the domain. So we always recommend that, as Emil said, you should have a synced node before you register, yep, and then you should always deregister before shutting your node down. What's a bad situation is having stake registered, having a signing key registered, and then not connecting your operator. We appreciate that accidents will happen, but it's bad for the network to have a fair-sized chunk of stake against a signing key that's not attached to a working operator. Hopefully that will make sense. Technical issues notwithstanding, of course. I apologize about the screen share. Let me just cancel that then.
Yeah, no worries, Jim. But I overall, I still think that it's we can show some more appreciation to the developers and how good the Subspace software is. Because imagine running an operator, having speaking at the stage on Discord and screen sharing at the same time from the laptop. It must have been a difficult task. Even the fact that it was working, even though not flawlessly, is I think is good enough for recognition of the software.
So yeah, I should point out that this is just running on a laptop. It's not running on a server. I'm just doing this to kind of demonstrate how it works. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that people run their operators on a laptop. I imagine there's some pretty spicy laptops out there, though, having said that. But maybe don't try and do a live stream on Discord at the same time. Something's not quite happy here. Okay, how are we doing on questions, Emil?
I think we need to get back to Penguin because he asked
Okay.
quite a few, and of course there is more questions in the chat. Okay, should we proceed to the questions then?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's go. Penguin's first one. I can't see any questions beforehand. So Penguin's first question. I'm expecting that half of Penguin's questions we're going to need to take to the forum because they're going to be horrifically technical and I'm not going to know the answers. So first, probably not even a question, but a wish. Is it possible to indicate in the farmer's log the number of segments to be remodeled in a given time period? Having the log does not look like that. And then we've got some replotting sector log. Okay. So you're asking so that you can. Okay, so you're suggesting that we have one segment out of 6. So I think that the percentage, Penguin, you can kind of work it out from that. So yeah, if you saw like one replotting sector, 25%, you know that you've got 4 sectors to go. I get what you're saying. That's more of a feature request, which you could raise as a GitHub issue, or you could even raise it as a question on the forum, which is where you're going to be speaking to devs who are going to be able to give you a more informed and complete answer on whether that's something we want to pursue. Remember, of course, that we are full bore trying to implement the protocol. We need it to be usable. We need our farmers to be able to use it, of course. But there are some frilly bits, some nice to haves that will be playing second fiddle to getting us feature complete for mainnet beta. But so having said that, there's no harm in asking, Penguin. I can't answer that one, I'm afraid. Okay.
I can take the second question.
Thanks,
yeah,
Phil.
to sum it up, it's a pretty long question, but to sum it up, Penguin has some concerns about the nodes that are still running the last phase Gemini 3F and potential negative impacts on the project reputation it might have, especially since the mainnet is coming very, very soon. And whether there is the possibility of maybe shutting down the boot nodes to prevent such issues. Yeah, I don't really know. As Jim mentioned, we also kind of were expecting the more like speedy switch from the previous Gemini versions to the Gemini 3G, but we do appreciate that we don't really have like a Pulsar, and I would expect that some people are waiting for the Pulsar to be released. So part of the reason could be not all people, but on our team. And of course, like if you go to the telemetry, there is still some nodes running, like even more ancient, I would say, Gemini nodes. So they will always be the case that there is some up and running nodes for the previous releases. I think we will monitor the situation and we'll reassess what's the percentage of people switching to the newer releases next week. But yeah, at the moment, I don't think we can provide any information on some actions we can take. Jim, is there anything you can add to this?
I'm afraid not. You know, the network's permissionless. It's up to people what software they want to run. I refer to those still running on Gemini 2A, all 38 of them. I'm just checking telemetry as being asleep at the wheel. You know, it's something that we can't really control. It's a permissionless network, Penguin. I get what you say. I'm not sure I share exactly the same sentiments about people shouting in Twitter. But I guess we'll find out. They're more than welcome to join our farmer office hours, our developer office hours, our community call. Follow us on Twitter. All of our socials are alive with what network we're on and messaging about, this is when you should upgrade. This is what network you should be on. If you're not on, if you didn't switch from 3F to 3G when we moved incentivized rewards over, really, that's on the farmer. It's a permissionless network. It's not enterprise software where we can roll out updates to everyone. Happy to explore that further if you feel the need, Penguin. Okay, so third, recently asked in chat about the reward table for Gemini 3F. I was told that there will soon be some kind of handy award calculator that takes past phases into account. The question is, when will that be? And will it be possible to operate multiple wallets like Subwallet or Polkadot.js? Okay, Penguin. So absolutely, we have some work going on this. All this information is on chain, of course. The vote and block rewards are part of the chain data for all the previous networks. What we are working on, absolutely, is a tool that gathers all that information into one place. I haven't seen that you're going to need to connect a wallet. It doesn't really interact. There's nothing really to do at the moment. I can only talk about the mock-ups that I've seen. But the idea would be, I think, that you search for your wallet. So you can pop your SS58 or your subspace, your ST address into a search bar, and it's going to tell you what kind of what you got up to on all the incentivized networks. It's in very early stages. I can't give you a date when it's going to be available. I would say sometime between now and mainnet, Penguin, if you force me to. I would hope sooner rather than later, but I can't commit because I don't know, I'm afraid. Hopefully we will get you something more solid, or we'll pleasantly surprise you when we're ready.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and guess the last questions from the first batch from Penguin. Stake Wars is coming soon, and the requirement state system Linux kernel 5.16 or newer. What is meant by newer? Because the mentioned version is already pretty modern. Yeah, and I must admit, because we didn't benchmark our nodes, and how much resources does it take to actually run an operator and what software is needed. Those requirements were taken from the Polkadot portal and that's the requirements for running a validator on Polkadot. So we assume that the requirements needed to run an operator on Subspace would be pretty much the same, and that was our best assumption at the time. But now we're actually seeing that we can actually support a much lower specs. But of course, we're really looking forward to the community feedback. We would be really happy to see the information on the setups that you are using to run an operator, the setups that both work and didn't work, and what are the systems that you are running it on. Because at the moment, I think our internal team members, they were able to run an operator on Windows, on Linux, on macOS, so we don't really have that specific requirements or tied to the system. So yeah, this section of the documentation definitely will be updated. And yeah, thanks for that question.
Yeah, and this is part of our testnet, Penguin, of course. So we're looking for your feedback. Tell us where it doesn't work. We don't have every single environment sat around waiting for us to test it. It would be lovely if we did. So I can say that it definitely works on Windows. We saw it working earlier. It definitely works on Ubuntu 22. But I haven't heard of any report yet of an operating system that it doesn't work on. So yeah, that an incentivized testnet and an incentivized competition. The idea is that it's a tool for you to tell us That's why it's incentivized. We need your help. We need your participation. We need you to tell us where it breaks and what the problems are going to be. And yeah, we will update the minimum requirements and the OS requirements as we go along. Shall I take the fifth one, Emil?
Sure, please.
Okay. So fifth, after the 14th of November update, my computers, and not just mine, started losing networking. Farmers started writing network loss messages very often, as in the screenshot below. This line of internet is occupied only by this laptop, and there's a screenshot provided. Now, as you can tell, Penguin, on this test net, we're having some networking issues. I know that the guys, the core contributors, the devs, are hard at work trying to diagnose exactly what that problem is. We recently made an update to partition the network. That hasn't done exactly what we hoped it would. But you are on this voyage of discovery with us. I don't have an answer. I certainly, understand your frustration. I guess rest assured that everyone seems to be experiencing it. You're not the only one who's been reporting that issue. But unfortunately, I don't have a great answer. Emil, do you want to take the sixth about replotting?
Yeah, that's a question that we see all the time on the forum, on our Discord channels too, of course. Yeah, the question is still to understand the mechanism of replot. Yes, the system replaces old segments. Yes, the number should be decreased over time, and it depends on the blockchain history size. But is there any formula for calculating this blockchain history size as well, and how quickly does it affect the replot? I mean, an answer like VHS increases per day by number of gigabytes, and some numbers should be divided by VHS, and you get the number of segments per 1 terabyte, or of plot that needs to be uploaded every day. Yeah, to be honest, I'm pretty confident that you've probably read the explanation of why the replotting is triggered, because our researcher Daria has put a really great post on a forum, and she tried to explain in every detail why the replotting is happening and why that's really important for the security of the chain. But to be honest, I'm not sure whether there is a specific formula we can provide to kind of estimate the chance, or like how frequently you will be replotting, because as the new segments are being added, as the blockchain history grows, some of the replotting for the older sectors are randomly triggered, and this randomness, as you know, there is, of course, every randomness has a formula under it, but it's still like difficult to estimate how much you will be replotting and how often you will be replotting. So I'm not sure whether there is a formula, but that's a really good question to maybe add to that forum and to ask Daria, who is much better than who knows much more and much better about replotting than I do.
Yeah, I second that. There are a few. Well, there's a few threads in Discord, but there is at least one long thread about replotting. You're not the only one asking these questions, Penguin. My advice is to see if you can get your answers from the latest updates in the Thought forum post. I don't have the formula, I'm afraid. It's something a bit too technical for me to know off the top of my head. But I appreciate that, with the fact that with the replotting that's going on, we are listening. We extended phase 1 because to try and accommodate the fact that everyone's experiencing this replotting. Everyone's in the same boat ultimately. And I feel like there is a strategy here as well, is that, should we be plotting or replotting? Should I be farming while plotting? These are all decisions that you, the farmers, need to make. And we're listening to your feedback on that. But yeah, the finer details of replotting, check if you get your answers on the latest updates on the forum post. I know that Dragon P has been asking some probing questions over there. Okay, so sorry, Emil, did you want to go?
Oh, yeah, sure. Of course, I can go. Yeah, Fuma asked, if I have 200 TSSC, is there any benefit if I split it for 2 operators, or will it be the same as running 1 operator with the 200 TSSC staking? And yeah, there is an answer to the Jeremy, but we just want to highlight it to everyone. The stake is weighted, so essentially there is no difference between running 2 operators with 100 TSSC each or running 1 operator with a 200 TSSC.
So pretty conclusive there. Okay, from Urali, will the minimum stake be 100 for nominators as well, or only for operators? So if you followed along earlier on the staking interface, each operator sets the min stake. So if you've got Jim operator and Urali operator, I might demand that only people with at least 10 TSSC can stake by setting my min stake to 10, and maybe you will set your min stake to 1 TSSC. So you'll be able to pick up people who don't have quite as many tokens. But yeah, to answer your question, it's set by each operator. It's not a domain-wide thing, as min stake, which we announced today, is.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, the next question is from our ambassador Ivan. Many questions have arisen from the community regarding farming using VPS and the servers they used during Gemini 2. Now they can no longer farm on the Gemini 3 network. Now to receive rewards, they need to use more powerful dedicated servers. Will it be possible to farm on weaker machines in the future? Do you want to take this one, Jim, or I can try my best to explaining what's going on?
Yeah, so I mean, it is the question that keeps coming up. I think, Ivan, we apologise because I think you asked this right at the end of the last call as well, and we didn't quite get to it. So where we are, as I mentioned earlier, is we are focused solely on making sure that we can get all the features we need for mainnet beta into the code, and that means that that is at the sacrifice of optimizations, which we can expect later. That may seem counterintuitive from our side of the table as farmers, but if we try to optimize every feature, which we know is going to be replaced later on, it would impact our timeline. So I feel like I can't make any promises, of course, because every iteration, 3EF was quite a different network to 3G is, and I expect that 3H could well be as transformational as different again. But I would expect that once we reach a period of stability as far as having to introduce new features, things like proof of time are huge changes to the network and the behavior of the protocol. And hopefully there'll be a period of consolidation where we'll be able to take a look at optimizing for various platforms. I know that's not a satisfying answer. I can't give you a date, Ivan, I'm afraid. But obviously we've always aimed for inclusivity. We don't want the barrier to entry to farming to be high. We want it to be as low as possible, in fact. So hopefully that makes sense to you. I see you've got a follow-up question there. 4 terabyte NVMe. I have a 4 terabyte NVMe SSD. What's more effective, using one plot of 4 terabyte or creating 4 plots of 1 terabyte each? I would go out on a limb and say that one plot. So the most efficient way to use your hardware has always been one plot per device. So that would mean that potentially you'd want to fill up your device as much as you feel comfortable with. As I mentioned earlier, there's a trade-off at the moment, because 4 terabytes is going to take so long to plot that you may want to only plot 1 terabyte of it and then have all your CPU or all your resources focused on farming those plots, rather than spending that extra resource trying to build out the rest of your drive. it's a decision that every farmer has to make. I certainly have. I thought that I would be filling up all my drives, but actually I've stopped to concentrate on farming now. So yeah, my advice is 1 4 terabyte plot there.
Yeah, and just maybe to add to it, yeah, we're always looking for the feedback. So if you ended up trying one larger plot, or splitting into 4 smaller plots, or doing pretty much trying to adjust your configuration, and you actually try to estimate if you are getting more rewards or if you're getting fewer rewards, please let us know. We'd be really curious to hear the way it worked best for you, because I know that our team is testing the smaller plots, so I don't think that anyone from the team actually plotted like a larger 4 terabytes plot, and I would be really curious to hear what worked best for you.
Absolutely. Feedback is our lifeblood. We need to hear what's working and what isn't. That's very true. If you take one last question here, I'm going to try and say it. Litend one. How long 3G is planned to run? I could be mistaken, but was there talk of 24 weeks? If so, is there a likely change to likely mainnet start date? Okay, so let's unpack that. So 3G is one of the Gemini 3 networks. We're currently in Gemini 3 incentivized testnet, which is planned and has been planned to run across multiple iterations of the network. So we started it on Gemini 3F. We switched it over to Gemini 3G recently, and it will continue into Gemini 3H because we have a roadmap where we've got features that will require a change to your farms. This has always been the plan. So the idea is there'll be a network reset. Your old plots are no good anymore because they're 3G flavor plots and you need to migrate over to 3H. So how long is 3G planned to run? At least as long as Stake Wars, let's say that, but not much further. I believe if someone could pop the When Subspace blog post into the chat, that's got a high-level roadmap with some provisional dates on how long we expect each phase to run. Talk of 24 weeks. So 24 weeks is what our expected duration of the Gemini 3 incentivized testnet will take. So that's from the activation of the incentivized rewards on 3F until we end the incentivized testnet, which will be, of course, a function of have we got all the features we need for mainnet beta, and are we comfortable that we've tested them enough? So 24 weeks is our estimate. That hasn't changed. So just to clarify as well, it's not mainnet after those 24 weeks necessarily. First of all, the 24 weeks could change. And is there likely change to the likely mainnet start date? So our target mainnet start date, which is a very aggressive target, February the 14th. No, we've got no intention on changing that at the moment, but obviously that is, again, a function of how well we're able to progress with testing all these new features that we need between now and then. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, we are a few minutes over. What do you think, Emil? Should we wrap things up? I think we've covered everyone's questions, and you can, of course, grab us in Discord at any point.
Yeah, I think we covered all the questions. At least I just scrolled through the chat, and I think every question was answered. All right, so once again, thank you all guys for joining us today and taking the time to chat with us on your busy schedules. Developer Office Hours is a monthly event, so we'll see you in December. Thanks again, and be prepared for the next phase of Stake Wars. See you around and see you on the Discord.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone.